Welcome back, everyone, to 1125's Finance segment.
Great to be here.
We're the place you come to decode the world, using sharp, data-driven storytelling. Now, if you've been with us before, you'll know we've done deep dives into other big financial certifications.
Yeah, we tackled the CFA and the CPA exams in previous segments. They're definitely cornerstones in the financial world.
They really are. Each one signifies a pretty specific expertise and a commitment to high standards.
Absolutely.
So today, we're doing another deep dive, this time into a really important one. The Certified Financial Planner Certification, the CFP.
Ah, yes, the CFP, a very well-respected credential.
Our goal here is simple. Unpack what a CFP actually is, walk through the pretty rigorous four-step path to getting certified.
And importantly, why it stands out in the, crowded world of financial advice.
Think of this as your shortcut to understanding this designation, whether you're thinking of becoming one or maybe hiring one.
It's definitely a comprehensive journey. Earning that CFP mark is, well, it's considered a defining career achievement for many financial pros.
Why is that? What does it really signal?
It signals high competency, for sure, but also, crucially, high ethical standards. That combination really sets it apart from some other credentials out there.
Okay, let's get into that journey then. How long does it usually take? What's the commitment like?
Typically, you're looking at somewhere between, say, 18 to 24 months.
Okay, so a year and a half to 2 years.
Right. And the cost, well, it can vary, but the minimum baseline is around $925. That's if you manage to bypass some of the initial coursework requirements.
Gotcha. So it's a serious investment of time and money. I heard it boils down to the 4 E's.
That's the common framework, yes. Education, the exam, experience, and ethics. Those are pillars.
All right, let's kick things off with the first E, education. What's involved there?
So the education piece is really the foundation. You absolutely have to complete specific coursework, and it has to be through a program that's registered with the CFP board.
And what kind of topics are we talking about?
It's quite broad, actually. It's designed to give you a holistic view of financial planning. So things like income and saving strategies, tax planning, risk management, insurance,
Okay.
investment strategies, obviously, retirement planning, both saving and income in retirement, and even estate planning.
Wow, okay. So it's not just about picking stocks or something. It's the whole picture.
Exactly. It's about understanding someone's entire financial life. And to wrap up that coursework, you actually have to create a comprehensive financial plan yourself. It's part of a final capstone course.
That sounds practical. What about formal education, like degrees?
Yep. You also need a bachelor's degree. Has to be from an accredited college or university. You'll need to get those transcripts sent over to the CFP board.
Makes sense.
And it's worth noting, if you already have certain professional credentials or maybe specific academic degrees, you might be able to bypass some of that required coursework.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, things like a CPA or maybe a CFA charter or even certain advanced degrees in finance. The board recognizes that prior learning.
Okay, that's good to know for people already in the field. So, after nailing the education part, comes the big one, the CFP exam.
Right.
I hear it's challenging.
It definitely has that reputation, and for good reason. It's a computer-based exam, multiple choice.
Right.
But the key thing is, it's designed to test your problem-solving skills. How well you can apply what you know to real-life financial planning situations. It's not just about spitting back facts.
So more application, less rote memorization.
Precisely. Critical thinking is huge.
How's it structured? Like, how long are you sitting there?
It's 170 questions total. They split it into 2 sections. Each one is 3 hours long.
Whoa.
Yeah, so 6 hours of actual testing time. There are breaks in the middle, thankfully. The whole appointment, including check-in and everything, is about 7 hours.
That's a marathon. How often can you take it?
It's offered 3 times a year, usually March, July, and November, and you take it at professional testing centers.
Okay. And the pass rate, what are the odds?
Well, looking at 2024 data, the average pass rate for first-time takers was around 69%.
69%.
Yeah,
Okay, so definitely doable, but you need to prepare.
absolutely. Significant, dedicated prep is essential. No doubt about it.
What kind of knowledge are they testing? You mentioned it's broad.
It is. The content's broken down into 8 main areas, what they call principal knowledge domains. Each has a certain weight.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Before, professional conduct and regulation, that's about 8%. General principles of financial planning is 15%. Risk management and insurance is 11%. Investment planning is a bigger chunk, 17%. Tax planning is 14%. Retirement savings and income planning is actually the largest at 18%.
Retirement makes sense.
Yeah. Then estate planning is 10%. And interestingly, psychology of financial planning makes up 7%.
Well, hang on. Psychology of financial planning. That seems different for a finance exam.
It is, isn't it? And it's actually quite important. It really highlights that good financial planning isn't just about the numbers.
So what does that cover?
It covers things like understanding client attitudes, their biases, behavioral finance concepts, basically how human emotions and, cognitive quirks affect financial decisions. And crucially, how a planner can communicate effectively and motivate clients, considering those psychological factors. It adds a really vital human element, makes the advice truly client-centric.
That adds a whole other dimension. Fascinating. Okay, logistics. How do you register? What are the deadlines like?
There are tiered registration fees. Early bird gets the worm, basically. Register earlier, it costs less, starts around $825 for early registration.
And standard?
Standard is $925, and if you wait until the last minute, late registration is $1,025. The deadlines are usually a few months before the exam date.
Good incentive to plan ahead. Any help with prep?
Yes, actually. When you register, you get access to a free CFP board practice exam. It gives you instant feedback, which is super helpful for figuring out where you need to focus.
That's a nice perk. What about exam day itself? What should you expect?
It's very structured. You need to get there about 30 minutes early, bring a valid government-issued photo ID. That's critical.
Standard procedure?
Calculators. Yes, but only specific ones. Needs to be an approved, non-programmable financial calculator. The CFP board has a list models like the TIBA2 Plus or the HP12C are common.
Good to know. What can't you bring?
Lots of things. No food or drinks, generally, though you can usually have a clear water bottle with no label, absolutely no notes, scrap paper.
Nothing.
Nothing. And most electronic devices are banned, apart from that approved calculator. The check-in is pretty rigorous, too. Think airport security, fingerprints, photos, maybe even body scans.
Wow, they take integrity seriously.
They really do. It's all about maintaining a fair and secure testing environment for everyone.
Is there any flexibility? Like, can you take it remotely?
Yes, there is a remote proctoring option, but currently it's only available if you're testing within the U.S.
Okay. Any catches with that?
Definitely some specific technical requirements. Your computer needs the right operating system, specific screen resolution, like 1920 by 1080 minimum internet speeds.
Things to check carefully beforehand.
Absolutely. And you can't use dual monitors. Also, instead of physical scratch paper, you get a virtual scratch pad on the screen. You really need to make sure your setup works before you choose that option.
Right, okay. So you've passed the beast of an exam, you've got the education, now comes the third E, experience. This sounds like where theory meets practice.
It absolutely is. This step is crucial. It ensures that candidates don't just know the material, but they can actually apply it in the real world, working with clients or in planning situations.
How does that work? How do you
Right.
prove experience?
There are basically two main ways to do it. Two pathways. The 6,000-hour standard pathway and the 4,000-hour apprenticeship pathway.
Okay, break those down. 6,000 hours versus 4,000 hours. What's the difference?
So the 6,000-hour standard pathway is the more flexible one. It generally takes about 3 years of full-time equivalent work.
3 years, okay.
The experience needs to relate to the financial planning process, like understand. It covers 7 key elements, and it needs to involve certain types of activities.
Like what kind of activities?
It could be directly working with clients, obviously, but it could also be supporting the financial planning process indirectly, maybe supervising others, doing an internship, or even teaching financial planning.
So you mentioned indirect support.
Hmm.
Could something like, say, financial journalism count if it's focused on planning principles?
Potentially, yes, under indirect support. The CFP board is pretty open on this pathway as long as it connects back to those core elements and activities. They accept up to 40 hours per week reported.
Interesting flexibility. What about the other path, the 4,000-hour one?
That's the 4,000-hour apprenticeship pathway. It's shorter, about 2 years of experience, but it's much more structured and stringent.
How so?
For this one, your experience must cover all 7 of those financial planning elements, not just one or more. And all the hours have to involve direct personal engagement with individual clients.
Ah, okay. Big difference.
Huge difference. And critically, all those hours must be completed under the direct supervision of an existing CFP professional who then has to sign off and verify everything. It's a much more mentored, hands-on with clients approach.
Got it. So one's broader, one's deeper and more supervised. When can you actually start logging these hours? Before the exam? After?
You can start tracking them at any point, really, before, during, after the exam. It all counts. And another helpful thing is that past experience can count too.
Oh, how far back?
Experience earned within 10 years before you pass the exam or up to 5 years after you pass can potentially fulfill the requirement.
That's useful. How do you report it?
You log it all through your online CFP board account. Then it needs to be verified, usually by your direct supervisor. But if that's not possible, there are qualified attesters who can do it, other CFP pros, CPAs, CFAs, licensed attorneys. There's a list.
Okay. What if someone's struggling to get traditional experience right away? Are there other ways to build those hours?
Yeah, definitely. You could look into part-time virtual paraplanning roles, for instance.
Yeah.
Or teaching financial planning courses out of college, even writing about financial planning topics like we discussed.
Any other avenues?
Pro bono work is fantastic, giving back while gaining experience. Organizations like the Foundation for Financial Planning or the IRS VITA programs often need volunteers. Also, the Financial Planning Association, the FPA, has specific programs.
Like what?
They have an FPA externship, which gives you about 180 hours towards the standard pathway, and an FPA residency program, which is more intensive and counts for 500 standard pathway hours. Great options, especially for newer folks.
Lots of ways to get there. Okay, that brings us to the final E. Ethics. This feels like the bedrock, doesn't it?
It truly is. This isn't just a checkbox. It's fundamental to the CFP designation. It's about demonstrating an unwavering commitment to high ethical and professional standards.
How do they assess that?
It starts with filling out an ethics declaration form and an agreement. Then, the CNP board conducts a pretty thorough background check.
Makes sense.
But the most crucial part is the pledge. You have to formally pledge to uphold the principles and standards outlined in the CFT Board's Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct.
And that includes?
Critically, it includes adhering to the fiduciary standard whenever providing financial advice. This means always putting the client's interests first, period. This isn't just a guideline, it's a binding commitment. It's what builds trust.
That fiduciary standard seems like a key differentiator. We should probably unpack that more. But first, after someone goes through all four E's, education, exam, experience, ethics, what does a CFP actually do for people?
Right. So a CFP essentially helps you build a roadmap for your financial life. They work with you to figure out your goals, retirement, buying a house, saving for college, whatever they are.
Okay.
Then they look at your current situation, your income, expenses, assets, debts, and also importantly, your comfort level with risk.
Your risk tolerance.
Exactly. Based on all that, they can advise on a whole range of things. Retirement planning strategies, how to save effectively, choosing appropriate investments, managing debt, the whole shebang.
Is it always comprehensive planning? Or do some specialize?
Both. Many CFPs offer holistic, comprehensive planning covering everything, but others do specialize. You might find CFPs who focus specifically on, say, divorce financial planning, or retirement income distribution, or maybe working with small business owners.
Okay, let's circle back to that term. Fiduciary, you said it's critical. Why is it such a big deal for someone looking for financial advice?
It's honestly one of the most important things for a consumer to understand. A fiduciary duty means that the CFP professional is legally and ethically required to act in your best interest.
Always.
Legally required. Yes, it's not just about recommending something that's suitable for you, which is a lower standard some other advisors might operate under.
What's the difference between suitable and best interest?
Suitable just means the investment or product fits your general profile and objectives. But it might not be the absolute best option available, perhaps because another option pays the advisor less commission. A fiduciary, like a CFP, must recommend what they genuinely believe is the best course of action for you, regardless of how it affects their own compensation.
That sounds like a huge protection for the client.
It is. The term financial advisor itself is quite broad. It's an umbrella term. It doesn't automatically mean someone has a specific credential or is bound by a fiduciary duty. The CFP mark specifically guarantees that fiduciary commitment when financial advice is being provided.
That clarifies a lot. Does that higher standard and expertise come with a higher price tag?
Yeah.
What does it typically cost to work with a CFP?
Generally, yes, you can expect to pay more than you might for a non-certified advisor, but you're paying for that expertise, that rigorous training, and that crucial fiduciary promise.
What are the typical fee structures?
It varies. According to research, like the Kitts' report, the average cost for a comprehensive financial plan from a CFP is often somewhere between, say, $2,000 and $4,500.
Okay, for a full plan. What about hourly?
If they charge hourly, the average is around $300 per hour. You also see online financial advisors, many of whom are CFPs acting as fiduciaries, who might charge based on assets under management, or AUM.
Right.
Those fees are typically a percentage, maybe ranging from 0.30% up to around 0.89% of the assets they manage for you annually.
Good to have those ballpark figures.
hmm
So if someone's convinced and wants to find a CFP, how do they do that?
The CFP board makes it easy. They have an official online directory on their website.
What can you find there?
You can search for CFPs in your area, you can verify that someone actually holds a certification currently, and you can also check if they have any history of disciplinary actions. It's a transparent way to find qualified, ethical help.
A very useful resource. Now, we've touched on other certifications like CFA and CPA. How does the CFP really compare side by side? What are the key differences for our listeners?
Good question. Let's take the Chartered Financial Analyst CFA first. CFAs are typically specialists in deep investment analysis, portfolio management, valuing securities.
More the investment engine room.
Kind of, yeah. They often work for institutions like managing mutual funds or pension funds, rather than directly with individual clients on their overall life plan. If you need super in-depth investment management, a CFA is great, but maybe not for holistic personal planning.
Okay, and the Certified Public Accountant, CPA. We know them from tax time.
Exactly. CPAs are the experts in accounting, tax law, tax preparation, audits. An advisor who is also a CPA can be fantastic for complex tax planning and optimization strategies.
But maybe not the whole financial life plan.
Not typically their primary focus, no. Their strength is usually tax and accounting, though some do expand into broader planning.
Got it. Then there's one more you sometimes hear about, the CHFC, Chartered Financial Consultant.
Right, the CHFC. This one is probably the closest to the CFP in terms of the coursework required. People with the CHFC often work in similar financial advisory roles.
So what's the difference then?
The main differences lie in the requirements. The CFP generally has more stringent academic requirements, especially that final comprehensive capstone course where you build a full plan. And the CFP exam is widely considered more rigorous.
And the fiduciary standard.
While CHFCs are held to ethical standards, the CFP designation is explicitly built around that fiduciary duty when providing financial advice, which is a very clear distinction enforced by the CFP board. Some argue CHFC might delve deeper into newer topics like behavioral finance, but the CFP's rigor and focus on holistic, fiduciary-based planning makes it the benchmark for many.
So for that comprehensive client-first life plan, the CFP is often seen as the gold standard.
That's a fair assessment for personal financial planning, yes.
And it's possible for advisors to have more than one of these, right? Like a CFP who is also a CPA.
Absolutely. Many top advisors do hold multiple designations. It makes them incredibly versatile and competitive, able to offer a really broad range of expertise.
Which brings up a point for you, the listener.
Yeah, it really forces you to ask, what kind of financial help do I actually need right now? Is it primarily investments, taxes, or that whole life picture?
Knowing these distinctions helps you find the right professional for your specific needs.
Definitely. It empowers you to make a better choice.
So wrapping this all together, what does this mean for you listening? We live in a world where finances feel increasingly complex, right?
No kidding.
And more, the responsibility for our financial future falls on us as individuals. So understanding the rigorous standards, that client-first fiduciary commitment baked into the CFT certification, how might that shape your trust?
Yeah, how does it affect how you view financial advice, whether you're looking to hire someone?
Or maybe even thinking about a career, helping others navigate this stuff. This deep dive really shows a profound commitment to competence and ethics.
A commitment that feels more essential than ever today. Putting the client first is invaluable.
We certainly hope this deep dive, like all the content here at 1125, has given you some clarity and context on the CFP, helps you see the bigger picture.
That's always our goal.
We really encourage you to check out more of our data-driven insights and other financial segments right here on the 1125 YouTube channel.
We're always digging into topics to help you stay informed and make smarter decisions.
So if you found this useful, please do take a second to like this video. Share it with anyone else you think might benefit from understanding the CFP certification.
Friends, family, colleagues.
And of course, please subscribe to the 1125 channel for more deep dives and smart analysis. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, everyone.